Hey everybody, welcome to the video. So I'm breaking down the upcoming Xfinity 500 at Martinsville Speedway. This will take place on Sunday, Halloween, October 31st at around 2 p.m. Eastern, and I'm super excited for this race. You guys know me. I love short tracks. I love super speedways. We have a short track on tap for us this weekend, half-mile track at Martinsville, and this is going to be a great race. This is the final race before the Final Four, the championship race, so it's going to be pretty intense. We have a lot of guys that have things to race for, so it should be pretty fun. Definitely looking forward to breaking this one down. And if you do find this video helpful in any way possible, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you want to take that one step further, I'm an official member over on Patreon. Link is down below in the description for that. And last but not least, this video is sponsored by PrizePicks. I'm sure most of you know this by now, but if you don't, it's daily fantasy sports simplified, just you versus the projections. There's no sharks, 150 max contests, or salary cap restrictions or anything like that. Just you versus the props they offer each and every single day. And as of right now, I do offer PrizePicks projections on the spreadsheet, as well as my favorite plays in the article. And I talk about them in the Discord, not just for NASCAR, but other sports as well. So if you want to check it out, link can be found down below, or you can head to prizepicks.com and use the promo code CPEN, get a free money bonus, instant match up to $100, so it's free money. Just use it to your advantage when you use code CPEN and tell them I sent you. But I think that'll be it for the plugs for the most part, so without further ado, let's dive into this week's video. And as always, I need to mention a few things first before we get started. So first off, obviously no live stream this weekend, but in a couple months we'll be back doing it for the Clash in early February. Then we have a long season ahead all the way back into November, so I know, it sucks, but I'm looking forward to doing those once again. Then second off, the DraftKings contest that I host each and every single week. All you have to do is comment your DK username down below. I'm more than happy to have you. But I want to shout out the winners from last weekend, so I'll throw them on the screen right about now. And coming in first place, taking the gold in a good chunk of change, we had Meestrom7, holding off my projection optional this weekend. Then I happened to finish second in this contest. We had a four-way tie for second. G Black 1, K Toga 05, MC Sub 1546, and my lovely girlfriend Jules 13 taking home the silver, all for the big tie there, but was the projection optimal, so I guess people just run that. And then right in the bubble, we had Donuts 88 in 6th place, Dirty Bird 27 in 7th, Bud Boy 2 in 8th, Hulk Smash 41 in 9th, and then T. Charleston, aka Tony, in 10th place. There's a couple other people that tied for 10th, but I couldn't fit everybody else on the screen, so I do apologize if I missed out on you. But congrats to you all. You made fantastic lineups last weekend. And if you're enjoying this week, just comment the DQs down below or follow me on Twitter. I'll shoot you an invite, whatever way you prefer. But I think that's it for the housekeeping for the most part. So let's dive right into the preview of this week's race. And as previously mentioned, this is the Xfinity 500 at Martinsville Speedway, aka the paperclip, just because it looks just like a paperclip. This is a short, flat track. It's about half a mile in length, give or take. And we have 500 laps available to us, which means there's a lot of dominator points to go around. 350 to be exact, although with cautions, I mean, you gotta subtract a little bit, but that's how much is total available. So yeah, dominator points are going to be super important this weekend. You need multiple dominator lineups. If you're building a one-dom lineup, which is a bunch of PD, that is not going to be optimal in this race. We need loads of dominator points because we have 350 available to us. So I'm talking 2 to 4 dominators per lineup this weekend. Even if you have to use a scrub, not saying it's the best way to go, but if you have to use a scrub in some lineups just to fit in a bunch of doms, it can work out if they just happen to have a clean race and pick up a couple of spots. But yeah, for the most part, what you should drill in your head this weekend is dominators, 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 because that's what's going to win you money on DraftKings this weekend. I think that's it for the preview for the most part, so let's dive right into the driver-by-driver breakdown portion of this week's video. And if you're wondering what my overall thoughts are on the pricing this weekend, I think DraftKings did a pretty solid job overall, although I will say some of these guys did underpriced that are really good at Martinsville, which I'll talk about in a little bit, but I think overall, the pricing is good. I was expecting them to make Martin Truex Jr. a lot cheaper than this, so I think the fact that they priced him up, even though he's not been the greatest lately, was definitely probably a good thing for them because we would have had massive chunk out of Truex if that wasn't the case. But overall, I think DraftKings did a fine job here. Not really too many complaints. But we'll start up top with the 11K range. We have 3 drivers this weekend. 2 I'm not really too fond of, and 1 I absolutely love. We'll start with Kyle Larson in the pool, $11,800. Past couple weeks, we have loved Kyle Larson in the pool. I have been pretty much 100%, 90% locked in on Kyle Larson in all my lineups. Not the case this weekend, though. I want to be underweight on Kyle Larson because I'm going to be very heavy on Martin Truex. Kyle Larson pretty much has nothing to race for. I'm not saying he's going to just sandbag it and not really try. I still think he's going to try, but Martinsville is not the greatest track for Kyle Larson. I'm not saying he can have a good race here. I think he's going to lead some laps, especially since on the pole, maybe he leads the first 50 laps. They'll go by very quick. But is that going to be enough to be optimal if he finishes like 5th to 10th? I mean, there's a chance it could be. I'm not saying a full fade Kyle Larson, but if I'm doing single entries, I'm not playing Larson. If I'm doing 3 max, I might play 1 with Larson, but even that I probably don't want to. As far as 150 max goes, which I will be playing and all my exposures posted, I'm not going to play too much Kyle Larson, I don't think. But projection-wise, he doesn't look terrible, but I'm going to be very heavy on Truex this weekend, so I'm very heavy on Truex. I can't be very heavy on Kyle Larson, so that's my stance. I am Team Truex over Kyle Larson this weekend. I hope that doesn't burn me, but if you just look at the numbers, I think it makes plenty of sense. Kyle Larson at Martinsville, I realize most of his numbers here are in Chip Ganassi equipment. He has 1 top 5, 2 top 10s, that 1 top 5 being in a Hendrick car where he finished 5th earlier this season, but he's averaging 1.5 laps left per race, 6.5 fast laps. I just don't really see why Kyle Larson would be the better play over Martin Truex, especially since Truex has something to race for. And this package this year, this is not just short flat tracks. It also includes tracks like Darlington and Dover, so they obviously aren't very, very flat. They're actually quite the opposite. But Kyle Larson's obviously been one of the most dominant cars, nearly 80 laps left per race. It's just at short flat tracks, Kyle Larson typically has not been the best, so I'm not a huge fan here. Martin Truex Jr., though, $11,400. He's starting in 4th. I mean, the name of the race is in his name, Martinsville. The guy absolutely owns this place. If he didn't have that loose wheel last year, he could have been like 4 out of the past 4 races he won. He finished 1st here earlier in the season, 22nd last year. But again, he was winning that race. Chase Elliott won at the end, but he had a loose wheel in 1st place. Then 1st and 1st. Like, it's hard not to like Truex here. He's averaging over 100 laps left per race, which is the most funny driver. He's got 3 wins. That's the past 4 races. Could have easily been 4 top 5s, the best average finish, the best running position. Looking at his numbers this season in this package, he has the most win at 4, 6 top 5s, nearly 60 laps left per race. He's absolutely crushed the short flat tracks as well. So hard not to like Truex. He is my favorite play in this slate. He's also my highest projected driver, and he will more than likely be my highest owned driver in my exposures this weekend in a 150 max contest. William Byrne, $11,000. He's starting 11th. I've been a big fan of William Byrne the past couple weeks, similar to Kyle Larson, but I am not a huge fan here in Martinsville. This typically isn't a big dominator. I know he can have a good race. He has top 5 potential. He's finished 2nd here earlier in 2019 in the fall race, and he finished 4th here earlier this season, but I just can't see him getting up front, leading laps over guys like Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano in this race, maybe even Brad Keselowski. It's possible. Again, not full fading William Byron, but I will be underweight, so that's my official stance there. Would not play him in single entries or cash games. Start going down to the 10K range. You have Denny Hamlin, $10,700. He's starting in 3rd. I think he's one of the absolute best plays on the slate. He's great at short flat tracks, similar to Martin Truex Jr. Not quite as good as Truex here at Martinsville, but he's pretty darn close to it. Like, the guy's very, very darn good. 4 top 5s the past 6 races here, some of the most laps led and fast laps. He's been super dominant in this package this season. Actually leads all drivers in laps led and 2nd in fast laps. 6 top 5s, 8 top 10s, the best running position, the best drive rating by a decent margin, and the 2nd best average finish, and the 2nd most DraftKings points per race. So Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr. combinations this weekend are looking very, very good. Definitely like JGR this week. Kyle Busch, $10,400. He's starting in 7th. I know I said I like JGR, but I'm actually more of a fan of Kyle Busch in the 550 package than I am in the 750 this year. It just really has not worked out for him. Only 1 top 5 finish, 4 top 10s, average finish of 18.3, and a running position of 17.1 with only a few laps led and fast laps per race. So I'd probably be a little bit underweight on Kyle Busch. I'd much rather play Chase Elliott and Denny Hamlin in this price range. Not saying Kyle Busch isn't good at Martinsville. He's got some good numbers here in the past, but it's not a huge fan heading to the weekend. Chase Elliott, though, $10,100. He's starting in 2nd. Super good at Martinsville. I think he's a bit underpriced. Past the races for him here, 2nd, 1st, 5th. Wrecked in 2019, but then finished 2nd and 7th. No reason not to like Chase Elliott here. He won this race last season, and I don't see why he can't put up a similar performance once again. So definitely a big fan of that price point. Not sure how chalky he's going to be. I've not ran my ownership projections yet, but I think he might be a little bit lower than Denny Hamlin and Martin Truex, but he might be the 3rd highest owned dominator on this slate. But that's just me kind of thinking in my head. The pricing just dropped a little bit ago, so I'm not really too in-depth into the slate yet. Obviously, I have an idea of who I want to play, but I'm just kind of talking through it here. But I don't think Chase Elliott will be above Denny Hamlin or Truex when it comes to ownership this weekend, but the price does look really nice. Going down to the 9K range, a few good dominators here. Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, the 3 Penske cars. All 3 of these guys run super well. At Martinsville, I feel like they're all pretty much similar plays for the most part. If I had to pick my favorite between the bunch, I would probably say Ryan Blaney because he's just so good here. I mean, they're all so good here is the thing, but he does start the furthest back. Not that it's by much, but he's definitely been the optimal lineup recently here at Martinsville. But no, it's really hard. I'm not sure I should say I like Ryan Blaney above the rest. I feel like it's kind of a tie between Blaney and Logano, and then Brad Keselowski's kind of, it's like Blaney's 1A, Joey Logano's 1B, or you can interchange that. Then Brad Keselowski's like 2 for me, but you could go fine either way. But Joey Logano, he's been crushing the short flat tracks for a couple years now. Average finish of 6.2 in this package this season. 5 top 5s, 8 top 10s. He's been terrible in the 550 package, but he's actually been very strong in the 750. Earlier this season, he finished 6th, and I would not be surprised if Logano gets a front lead some laps at some point and could be a threat to be in the optimal lineup. So definitely a big fan of all the Penske cars. Same goes for Brad Keselowski. Besides that 33rd place finish earlier this season, finishes a 4th, 3rd, 1st, and 5th the past 5 races. So all these guys are super good plays. They're underpriced, and for a 500 lap race, being in the 9K price range is definitely a very good value. So I'll be quite heavy on them as like my 2nd or 3rd dominators. Or you can make a lineup with all 3. You could honestly make a lineup with Keselowski, Logano, Blaney, and Elliott, and you just have to play a couple like 5K drivers like maybe Anthony Alfredo or Michael McDowell or Chris Busch or something like that. Maybe even Corey LaJoie if he fits, but you can definitely build 4 dominant lineups this weekend. It's not that hard. Kevin Harvick, $9,000. He's starting at 9th. Never really a big fan of using Harvick at Martinsville. He typically can get like strong finishes inside the top 10, but he has 0 laps led here the past 6 races and only 11.8 fast laps. I know he's been a lot faster in the 750 package this season compared to the 550. Although, I mean, he's had strong finishes in the 550, but he's actually put up some decent amount of dominator points in this package this year. 10.7 laps led per race, which is better than a 0 that he has in the 550, and 12.6 fast laps. Average finish of 8.3, running position of 7.7. Harvick is an interesting tournament play, but with him not being able to advance, I'm not sure exactly that he's going to be like a top 5 car. I think he can run well, but not sure that'll be enough at $9,000. And then moving on to the 8K range, this is actually a pretty good tournament range because all these guys shouldn't pick up a ton of ownership, but they do have decent ceilings for where they're starting, and they shouldn't have too much ownership. So we'll start with Alex Bowman here, $8,700. He's kind of like a great value brand version of William Byron, if that makes any sense, where he's not quite the driver William Byron's been this year, but he's still in a Hendrick car, and they have somewhat similar upside. Now, I would obviously play Byron over Bowman if they were the same price point, but Bowman's about $2,000 cheaper, so you got to take that into consideration as well. You just had back-to-back 6th-place finishes here in 2020. Finished 34th earlier this season, but hey, things happen. Finished 30th in 2019, but he's got top 8 potential. Starting 13th, he's going to have to pick up fast laps to be in the optimal, but I think there's a chance for it. He also does have 2 wins at short tracks this season. Christopher Bell, $8,400. He's starting in 12th. Any single time we go to a short flat track, I am going to be interested in Christopher Bell because the guy absolutely crushes these. He did the Xfinity Series. He's been great so far in the Cup Series. Average finish of 9.9 in this package this season. Running position of 11.1. 3 top 5s and 6 top 10s and a decent chunk of fast laps. So I think Christopher Bell should definitely be on a radar. He could be one of those guys that not a lot of people are looking at, but could sneak into the optimal lineup if he just gets a good finish and grabs fast laps throughout the race. Tyler Reddick, $8,200, starting 18th. Kind of a similar play to Christopher Bell, although he's starting 6 spots further back and he's a little bit cheaper. You know, Tyler Reddick has top 10 upside pretty much everywhere he goes, each and every single race. And he finished 8th here early in the season, so I think Tyler Reddick should be someone that's on our radar. And Eric Almirola, $8,000, starting in 23rd. I've usually been team fade Almirola this season, but every single time we're in a 750 short flat track, I always have interest in Almirola. I usually run him up in the tournament section. He finished 7th here in 2020, finished 20th here with the most recent race in the spring. But Eric Almirola is not that bad at these types of tracks. I mean, he has 1 win on them this season. That was at New Hampshire. He's got 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s. The running position and average finisher kind of on 15th place, but he's starting in 23rd, and he's $8,000. So I definitely think he's someone that we should have some exposure to because he's been a lot better and a lot faster at these types of tracks. Dropping down to the 7K range, we have a really cheap Kurt Busch at $7,900. He's starting in 10th, so there's not too much room for improvement. But he has 4 top 10s here the past 6 races and a top 5, running position of 11.1, and an average finish inside the top 10 with finishes of 21st, then 5th, 9th, 6th, 12th, and 6th. So Kurt Busch, I know it's an ugly starting spot, but he's kind of a similar play to guys like Tyler Reddick and Christopher Bell and Alex Bowman, and he's pretty cheap, and he's got a lot of experience at this track, so I think Kurt Busch definitely on our radar for tournaments. MDB, another guy, kind of a Penske car, so they typically all run well here, so it makes sense that MDB has had some solid runs. Since 2020, finishes of 12th, 10th, and 7th, so I think MDB should be firmly on our radars for tournaments. Bubba Wallace, he actually doesn't have the worst finishes in the world at Martinsville. Finishes of 16th, 21st, 11th, 13th, and 17th, and a lot of those numbers are coming from when he was in the 43 car. Now he's an improved car in the 23. I think there's a little bit of upside there. I think he's a fine pivot. I know I said MDB and Kurt Busch are tournament plays, but if you want the pivot off the tournament plays, you have Bubba Wallace here, who should be lower owned than those two. Ross Chastain, $7,400. He's starting in 16th. I've been fading him for a few races just because he's been much better in this package compared to the 550. But we're back at the 750, and looking at Ross Chastain's number in this package, every single time we've been to one, he's been in the top 20 each and every single time. He has 7 top 15s, 4 top 10s, and 2 top 5s with an average finish of 11.2. Starting in 16th, I think Ross Chastain's definitely a very solid play in tournaments. Ricky Stenhouse is a fine cash play, starting all the way back in 25th. I know he's kind of burned us the past couple races, but hey, some things are out of our control. But looking at Ricky Stenhouse's numbers at Martinsville, typically a top 20 guy, usually around 15th to 20th place. 2 top 15s, 4 top 20s, 15th, 20th, 21st, 15th, 25th, and 19th his past 6 races. So I think he's fine starting all the way back in 25th. Unfortunately for us, Ryan Newman is actually pretty good here. He's starting all the way back in 27th. He's got 2 top 10 finishes, 5 top 20s, pretty much around 10th to 20th place the past several races. I know his numbers in this package this year have not been very good. He does have 5 top 20s. It's never fun playing Ryan Newman, but I think he should be on our radars this weekend just because a lot of experience at Martinsville, and that's something that is pretty important. he's had some decent finishes here, so I guess we'll play a little bit of Ryan Newman since he's starting all the way back in the back. Although I will say a lot of my lineups will probably be pretty top-heavy in terms of just fitting in all these dominators and going with some of these cheap drivers down low. So I'm not sure exactly how heavy I'll be in the 7 to 8K range. That's why it's going to be a bit under-owned, because a lot of people are going to be doing the same thing like I just mentioned. Eric Jones starting all the way back in 28th. He's $6,900. Never really been the best driver here at Martinsville, even when he was in the 20 cars, so probably not going to be huge on Jones, but he's a nice PD plate on the back. And he's actually been pretty decent in this package this year in terms of just picking up decent finishes where he's got 5 top 20s, no top 15s, but if you can get a top 20, $1,600 starting 28, I'm not sure if it'll be optimal, but it won't kill your lineup just because, I mean, $7,000 is a bit pricey for a guy like Aaron Jones who doesn't really offer you too much upside. Austin Dillon, $6,700 starting 14th, probably a place where I'd expect him to finish. He's been solid in this package this year, finished in the top 20 each and every single time, average finish of 13.4, 6 top 15s and 2 top 10s, but I really can't expect him to lead laps. And I would say guys like Ross Chastain in a similar starting spot, a little bit expensive, yes, but definitely have a lot higher ceiling in my opinion, but Austin Dillon's fine. I mean, for all these guys he's priced around, he definitely has pretty much the best finish potential, I would say, if not close to it. I guess Chase Briscoe has had some decent runs recently, but I would definitely say Austin Dillon has really the only driver in this price range that has top 10 upside, maybe outside of Daniel Suarez. Cole Custer starting in 24th. It's gross, but he offers you PD upside in the back. He does have finishes at 13th and 18th here, but not really excited to play Cole Custer. Daniel Suarez, $6,500. He's starting in 20th. Kind of a similar play to Austin Dillon, but he starts 6 spots further back. He's a little bit cheaper, so don't mind it, but he's had some pretty bad finishes at Martinsville recently, but you got to keep in mind a lot of this was in bad equipment. Finished 32nd here early in the season, but hey, things happen. But way back in the day, 2019 and 2018, he has finishes of 10th and 9th. So there's definitely upside here for Daniel Suarez. Chase Briscoe, $6,400, starting in 22nd. Probably going to finish close to where he starts. I don't mind Briscoe if you're just trying to get different down low, but I wouldn't play him in single entries more than likely. Ryan Preece, just a PD play in the back. Wrecked here early in the season, but he does have finishes of 19th, 26th, 19th, and 16th, so there's room for growth. Core of the Joy, wrecked here early in the season as well, finished in 37th, but starting in 29th, $6,000. He's got top 25 appeal here, does have 2 top 20s in this package this season with a top 15. Chris Buescher is dirt cheap at $5,900. He's starting in 15th, so obviously not a lot of PD upside, but the guy's not bad at Martinsville. And if you take away this 38th place finish, we're talking finishes of 13th, 13th, 12th, 21st, and 13th, but we have top 15 upside of a driver that's below $6,000, and he makes some things work up top, and plus, hopefully that high starting position will keep him from being lapped early on, so that could definitely help Chris Buescher, so I think he's definitely a fine play, even though he's starting near the very front, but he does have a few top 15s and top 20s this season in this package. Michael McDowell, $5,700, starting in 19th. Don't really see a reason to want to play Michael McDowell. He only has 1 top 20 finish in this package this year. I should also mention Chris Buescher has 2 top 10s in this package as well, but Michael McDowell, I would much rather play Chris Buescher. I would probably rather play Justin Haley, $5,500, starting in 35th. Should have top 30 potential. I know it's not a lot, but the upside is there for him. Anthony Alfredo, starting in 32nd, finished 26th here earlier this season. He lets you fit in dominators, so I don't hate Anthony Alfredo this weekend. If he just doesn't wreck, he should be able to gain you a handful of spots. And then after that, we have the scrubs, Garrett Smithley, Timmy Hill, Gase, Ware, Half, Bilicki, McLeod. They are playable just in case you want to fit in some really nasty dominator lineups, but probably have a hard chance of them being in the optimal lineup, but it's certainly possible. Like earlier this season, we saw Quinn Houff finish 24th, Josh Bilicki 23rd, BJ McLeod 29th, Cody Ware 28th. So if there's attrition, these guys can be decent plays. Now, this being a championship cutoff race, I could definitely see there being some attrition during this race. I don't hate them, but I would say a max of just a few percentages in a 150 max contest. But with that being said, that'll be it for the video. So I hope it was helpful, and if it was, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you want to take that one step further, become an official member over on Patreon. Link is down below in the description for that. And don't forget, this video was sponsored by PrizePicks. It's just you versus the projections, and as of right now, if you're new signing over there, you get a free money bonus. That's an instant deposit match up to $100 when you use code CPEN and tell them I sent you. I think that'll be it. I will stop rambling. I'll see you guys in the next video.